This report is designed to really show how geographical research can help us address some of the major questions of the day. Everything from climate change to geopolitical change to shifting patterns of inequality to the changing role of technology, how it's helping us to understand the world, but how it's also raising questions of privacy as more and more information is coded in terms of location, which really can have some impacts on how we understand processes and how we recognize the vulnerabilities of different populations. So climate change is obviously one of these things that we talk about in terms of the entire globe, but the same process will have a different impact in different kinds of places. So geography actually helps us try to understand some of the variations in how climate change will play out around the surface of the Earth. The impacts of a shifting climate on species distributions, and the viability of species will depend on a variety of physical and human circumstances in different places. And geographical analysis and research tries to give us some sense of how those differences from place to place actually will have an impact on something like species extinction rates or distributions. So another example of how geography can help us understand some of the impacts of climate change is in the geopolitical arena. You know, we tend to think of geopolitics as very different from climate, but first of all, you've got stresses on environments, water resources and so forth that can play out in various places. But a warming climate can also lead to sea level rise. Sea level rise, in turn, will change the configuration of coastlines, and yet states measure their maritime boundaries from baselines along coastlines, and in some cases those maritime boundaries are being contested, for example, in the South China Sea. So as coastlines change, that in turn could have an impact on uneasy arrangements in terms of maritime boundaries in various kinds of places. It could raise whole new issues between countries that could lead to conflicts in certain cases.